Now this is going to be kind of a part 2 or a continuation to one of the videos I posted on my channel recently showing you guys how to beat the Iron Twins dungeon on every single affinity stage 15 with what I consider to be a free-to-play friendly team. However, some people disagreed, so I'm going to be showing you something that's even more free-to-play friendly, and I can guarantee that you're going to have at least 2 of these champions out of the 3 total that we're going to be using to beat this dungeon on every single stage 15. So, first of all, I want to thank you all so much for the support on the channel. I managed to hit my 2,000 subscriber goal, which I was hoping for by the end of 2024. With time to spare, it is currently December 29th, so thank you all so much for the support on the channel. It means a lot to me. Let's go ahead. Let's hop into this and let's take a look. So keep in mind, we are on Spirit Affinity of Iron Twins today, and here is the team that I use. Now, I already see some of you getting ready to start typing comments to me down below. But this isn't free-to-play friendly. I missed the Python fusion, and I can't pull a God Seeker, and I don't have a Geomancer. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to talk about that today. Just calm down, okay? Just calm down. You just need to take a breath. This team works perfectly fine if I come over here and if I go boop, 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 and hit battle. These 3 champions are enough to beat Iron Twins stage 15 of Spirit. And again, keep in mind, you know, your results may vary if you're going against the Force or the Magic Affinity, because obviously they're going to have different affinity matchups based on, you know, whatever champions you're bringing in. But Mithrala, free-to-play champion. You just need to grind Hydra. It takes a while to get her, right? It took me a few months to get her, but you will get her, and that is a guarantee as long as you play the game. Syl, quite literally, is the free-to-play champion that you're going to build, and she is a fantastic champion to use in this dungeon. I've talked about her many times. She brings a decreased speed on the A1, as you can see. You get her simply for logging into the game. And I apologize if you're new here and you're like, why is he taking this tone with us? I am taking this tone because my comments always get flooded by people saying, that's not free to play. I don't have this champion. You got to apply some critical thinking skills to videos that you see on YouTube. And this isn't even just a talk through of how to beat a stage in Raid Shadow Legends. If you see a political video on YouTube, if you see a medical video on YouTube, hell, if you see a mathematical video on YouTube, you should apply critical thinking skills to it regardless of what it is, and you should think about how to implement that for yourself or what you can learn from it, right? Consuming content, especially in this space, shouldn't be expected to be just as simple as I sit down, I watch video, my problems, they gone, right? You wouldn't watch a video of how to repair a car and expect your car to be repaired the next day if you didn't put in a little bit of work with it as well, right? So when you watch a video about how to beat a stage inside Raid Shadow Legends, just keep in mind that generally those champions can be substituted, and in fact, I have mentioned multiple substitutions in every single video that I've made on the Iron Twins so far. So if you're new here, this tonality is not for you. This tonality is for the few folks out there. You know who you are. I'm not going to mention names, but it is what it is. And we are showing how to beat the Iron Twins. So as you can see, we're coming up on just about 2 minutes here. The Brimstone, the Smite debuff is coming in and helping us out. And it looks like we're going to take out the Iron Twins themselves within about 2 minutes and 3 seconds. As you can see, this team is perfectly fine to get through it right now. I understand that Mithrala and Syl might not be as free to play as you'd like, or, you know, they are free to play, right? But Geomancer, essentially, he might not be very free to play, right? Especially a 6-star Awakened Geomancer. You might not have pulled a Geomancer. You might not have the soul for him. You might not have him built or geared yet. Well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do something a little bit different here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw the former Fusion Newt in. And I know what you're thinking already. I can see it. I can read your mind. You're thinking to yourself, I missed a Newt Fusion. I don't know who to use in this slot instead. I don't know. I can't think about... No problem. I got a 3rd champion that we're going to show you next as well. So don't sweat it. Just chill out for a few minutes. Watch this run with me. We're going to see Newt take down the boss, and it's going to be fantastic. A couple things to talk you through while we wait for this, and I'll lay off on the sarcasm now. I'm sure it's probably a bit annoying, but a few things to talk through on this. So first of all, whichever champion you're bringing in this 3rd slot, generally you're going to want them to have a decrease attack just to make the run a little bit easier and to make it a little bit more consistent for yourself, right? So Newt is absolutely perfect because he has the decrease attack as well as a counter attack on his A2. I believe it is, at least. And then Mithrala is bringing in... I'm actually going to look at that. I might be just completely wrong. Newt might not have a decreased attack. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look here. Either way, though, Mithrala is bringing in a... Yeah, he does have a decreased attack. Okay, I'm not wrong. Oh, whew. Mithrala brings in the increased defense, and she brings in the increased attack. So Mithrala is going to be a perfect setup regardless what sort of a damage dealing champion that you're bringing. Syl is bringing heals every single turn. She's healing everybody, I believe, by 10%. She's also placing increased speeds at random on your team, and then additionally she's also of course placing a decreased speed on the enemy, right? So on the Iron Twins boss here, and that makes Mithrala and Syl essentially the powerhouses that you need to take down this boss with very little sweat, as long as you can just bring in a little bit of utility, right? So I'm doing this. Syl isn't even fully geared. Syl is missing like a chest plate, I think, or a pair of boots or something like that. My Mithrala has a fairly decent build, but as you can see, with Newt, we still pulled a 1 minute and 41 seconds. And again, you might have missed... wow, look at that. I got an achievement. That's cool. You might have missed a Newt fusion. Perfectly understandable. I missed a Newt fusion as well, right? A few other things to consider. I brought in my Corvis the Collector, who is, for all intents and purposes, naked, right? So it's not Corvis the Collector, it's Corvis the Corruptor. As you can see, my Corvis is basically naked. He has a pair of boots on. And with this Corvis, I still managed to get the boss down to like 20% HP. I couldn't get him past that though, just because he ramped up a little bit. But I still got him down extremely low. This boss is not hard to beat, and I'm just here to show you essentially different options that you will have. The last champion that we're going to be covering here today is one that everybody got for free just by, I believe it was logging in. I think this was like a 7-day chase. Artak, Gaelic's father, right? This guy is fantastic. He has decreased attack. He has an HP burn. He has an HP burn detonation. He has basically everything you want for a fight like this, and he's also not insanely geared out. Let me go ahead and show you his stats real quick, right? So he's got 76k HP, 3500 defense, 239 on the speed, 323 on the accuracy. You don't need all these stats. As you'll see, the run is incredibly safe, and we get through it without really any issues. And again, you know, Mithrala is just bringing in so much tankiness with her increased defense, and then the shields and the strengthen that gets placed. And then Artak is an HP-based champion, so he's not really going to have too much for issues staying alive. Now, obviously, if you have the Smite debuff, or if you have the Brimstone Blessing on some of these champions, it's going to go a lot quicker. As you can see, my Syl has it, but she rarely lands it. It's only a 1-star blessing. So if you have even like a Sun Wukong, you can bring in essentially, and he can place that, right? Because we got the chance to get a High Awakening Soul for him. My Sun Wukong is like 5-star Awaken. So if you have him, put him in Brimstone, bring him in here. Even if he dies, it doesn't really matter because he can bring himself back. If you want to cheese it, bring in a Sun Wukong with a Brimstone Blessing, and then just 4 Vogoths, right? That's all you need, really. Or, you know, 3 Vogoths and like a Rector Droth or something like that, or like a Syl, just to make sure everybody stays topped up. Put them all in like Guardian gear. I can't stress this enough. This boss is relatively easy to take down, and I love just showcasing different options for this. And I think it's important to showcase this, even though it is a fairly easy boss, because at the end of the day, we are still facing the Iron Twins boss inside City of Centranos, both normal and hard mode. So that's happening every month, right? You're going to have to fight this guy every month with different rotating champions, and the same principles that are applied here will also apply inside the City of Centranos. So obviously, you have things like decrease attack, decrease speed, increase defense on your team, and then some sort of shield or strengthen, right? So those are essentially the core values that you want to be bringing to the fight. Those are the core things that you should be looking for on any sort of a champion that you're hoping can come in and assist you in this particular area. Now, somebody like an Artak does, of course, do this a little bit slower because he's not really bringing any sort of raw DPS or cheesy strats in the way of like a Geomancer or something like that can really tick the boss down. But you'll see that with the poisons, with the HP burns, with the HP burn activation, and then, of course, the odd Smite debuff coming in, we can chunk through this pretty quick, all things considered. And this is absolutely fantastic because as you progress into more of a late game, end game type of player, if you're not there yet, you're going to obviously have a lot of missions for Marius where you essentially have to farm, you know, a certain amount of soul essences or something like that from the Iron Twins. We're looking a little bit sketchy here, to be honest. Or, of course, you have to get, you know, you have to beat the certain stages on stage 15, you know, all those sorts of good things, right? There's a lot of missions that revolve around Iron Twins. And then you also have you know, for example, City of Centranos. When you're farming City of Centranos, the Iron Twins themselves are actually consistently locking you out of the Soul Cross section of the map. So if you're wanting to get that really juicy 5-star gear, essentially, you do need to beat them each rotation there, right? So we keep getting the decreased defense as well as some weakens and everything like that landed on us here, which is a bit unfortunate. So our Syl goes down. So I'm interested to see if we can actually do this. I think this next turn we are going to, although it's going to be pretty sketchy to say the least. With a little bit of burns placed out there, we should be able to, I think, though. But, you know, build your Syl with more resistance and you will do perfectly fine. We got some burns as well as poisons and everything. They don't tick too much, to say the least. We're going to be probably looking at about a 3.5, 345 on the clear here. I think Artak should be able to do it. I got my fingers crossed. Let's see. He does not do it, actually. So this comes down right to the wire. As you can see, he was at like 1% HP. I had run this previously, and he did actually clear it without really any issues. So there is definitely a little bit of RNG implemented into it. But again, like I mentioned, my Syl is naked. She's literally missing a chest plate and boots, people. She's missing a chest plate and boots on my Syl build. This is the build. 65k HP, 3000 defense, 170 speed. This is absolutely terrible. 213 and 259 on the resistance and accuracy respectively. You throw a pair of boots on her, you throw a chest plate on her, and you are going to beat this stage without any sort of a struggle. I will show you my Newt build as well if you're curious about that. We got 244 on the speed, 100, 255, and then 308 on the accuracy. Those are the important stats. Geomancer, built to survive as much as I can. Nothing too crazy on him for stats. And then finally, we have Mithrala here, who again does have a fairly respectable build, especially considering I use her in PvP and whatnot. So that being said, I hope this was helpful, right? If I go and take a look at Cursed City right now, I'll show you the team that I used to beat that there as well. I'll probably do like an in-depth showcase on this at some point. And lo and behold, Syl makes herself into this team as well. Shocker, right? I'm telling you, Syl and Mithrala are an absolute powerhouse duo to beat this boss. It is absolutely insane how good they are at it, and I think they are insanely underrated in this particular position. That being said, though, once again, as always, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. It has meant the world to me, and the channel has been consistently growing, which is absolutely fantastic to see. I hope you guys all have a happy new year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.